this stuff is, it's putting LeBron in a bad space. Listen, here's the good news. It's time to move off LeBron at some point in the next calendar year. And LeBron's never been loyal to teams.
For years, the media served as a protective shield for the king, but the walls are finally crumbling in Los Angeles. From Jeanie Buss's leaked frustrations to a shocking flip-flop from a major media personality, the narrative is shifting faster than a LeBron fast break.
Because of the comments that came out about some of the sentiments that Jeanie Buss had towards LeBron James, like her feeling like he wasn't grateful that they drafted Bronny. She didn't like the fact how he tried to avoid blame and take responsibility for the Russell Westbrook debacle. She begrudgingly gave him a second contract. The only reason she gave him a contract extension because she didn't want the PR blowback. She thought his ego was outside. It was just a bunch of stuff, right?
Before we get into the carnage, I have to ask, is LeBron James actually the one who saved the Lakers? Or is he the reason they're currently sinking into the Pacific Ocean? Oh, look at that. The sky is falling in Tinseltown, and for once, the media isn't just handing LeBron a towel to wipe off his ego. We are witnessing a historic moment, people. A moment where the propaganda machine has hit a massive glitch, and the chosen one is actually being held to a standard. We've spent years hearing about how LeBron James saved the Los Angeles Lakers. Saved them. As if the most storied franchise in basketball history was some charity case living under a bridge before LeBron decided to grace them with his presence. Let's talk about Colin Cowherd first.
All right, so there was a big story from Baxter Holmes, ESPN, detailing some of the strife inside the Laker organization. Jeanie Buss, who I've always liked, felt a little disrespected by LeBron James. LeBron didn't take responsibility for the Westbrook move. I talked about that over and over and over. LeBron wanted that move. It was a disaster. Now Westbrook and LeBron don't get along, whatever. But I read the story. I'd heard about half of these rumors, maybe 75% of these rumors. Baxter Holmes has a history of getting stuff right. Jeanie Buss is now saying, this stuff is, it's putting LeBron in a bad space. Listen, here's the good news. It's time to move off LeBron at some point in the next calendar year. And LeBron's never been loyal to teams.
Now, if you've been paying attention for the last decade, Colin has basically been the president of the LeBron James fan club. He's spent years arguing that LeBron is the GOAT over Michael Jordan, which, let's be honest, is a take that requires a certain level of creative imagination. But even Colin, the man who once tried to tell us Kobe Bryant was never the best player in the league, has finally seen enough. He's looking at the disaster in LA and essentially saying, yeah, the Lakers have every right to be fed up.
This is not a Derek Jeter situation. This is not Magic or Kobe. LeBron's easier to move off. It's been a mutually beneficial relationship. His net worth has almost doubled since he came to LA. He came to LA for basketball, 60%, and business, 40%. I mean, he kept the thing, by about year 2. His net worth is almost doubled. Net worth. He's expensive. He's not always available. He's not the player he once was. Lakers are so bad defensively, and statistically, they're worse when he's on the floor. So I've said it forever. Really, really confident, successful men are bad at exits.
It's about time someone said it without worrying about getting their credentials pulled. Colin pointed out the obvious. LeBron isn't loyal. This isn't Derek Jeter. This isn't even Magic or Kobe. LeBron is a nomad with a high-end real estate portfolio. He didn't choose the Lakers because he loved the history of Jerry West and Kareem. He chose them because Los Angeles has the best economy and the best movie studios. He's a businessman who happens to be great at basketball. And right now, the business is booming while the basketball team is a dumpster fire.
LeBron's been great for players. Tiger Woods was great for golf. LeBron's been great for NBA player empowerment. Is he good for the ratings? Well, Lakers still get a lot of ratings when they play the Warriors every Christmas or near then. But it's easier to move off somebody that's moved off multiple teams. LeBron is a businessman at this point first. And a basketball player, I know, keep the thing. But for his entire career, he's a basketball guy that did business. LeBron now is kind of a business guy who's still pretty good at basketball. But moving off him is not difficult. The agent's talking. They're a worse team defensively when he's on the floor. He's not always available. You can be a credit to the game, and it can be time. But part of me thinks the Lakers sold this because the discomfort of the LeBron exit. LeBron's exit, he's been exiting his entire career. He exited from Cleveland, his hometown, twice. Pat Riley. And remember, when he chose the Lakers, they stunk. He didn't choose the best basketball team. He chose the best economy in the country, Los Angeles.
Cowherd's rationale was actually, dare I say, logical. He noted that the Lakers are statistically worse defensively when LeBron is on the floor. He pointed out that LeBron is expensive, rarely available for a full season, and his player empowerment era has basically turned the Lakers into a Klutch Sports subsidiary. When your agent is on a podcast talking about trading other players on the roster, you know the inmates are running the asylum. Colin essentially admitted that the Lakers are a mirage.
The other thing is, look under the hood. The Lakers are a mirage. They're 26-16. But 15 of their 16 losses, they've gotten blown out. They're great in clutch games because they have a really smart head coach, but they're not in that many clutch games. They're horrible defensively. It's a 3-and-D league, and they don't have enough of either. No rim protection, not very athletic. This is a Luka, J.J. Redick, and maybe Austin Reeves franchise going forward. So if you look under the hood, they're a mile from San Antonio and Oklahoma City and Minnesota and Houston.
They might have a decent record on paper, but they're getting blown out in their losses. They have no rim protection, and they aren't even as good as Detroit in the long term. That's a stinging indictment from a guy who used to be LeBron's biggest cheerleader. But then, we have the other side of the coin, the side that refuses to wake up from the dream. Enter Stephen A. Smith. Watching Stephen A. react to the news of Jeanie Buss being fed up was like watching a man try to walk back a bad Yelp review because he's afraid the chef will spit in his soup. He went on national television and basically bent the knee.
I will remind you, the Lakers had really regressed to, I would never say irrelevancy, because we're talking about the purple and gold. We're talking about one of the greatest basketball franchises, one of the top 2 basketball franchises in sports annals. There's no doubt about it. But the other side to it is that LeBron did resurrect the Los Angeles Lakers.
Stephen A. started rambling about how LeBron resurrected the franchise. Resurrected? My guy, the Lakers were in a rebuild because Kobe Bryant, a man who actually stayed, retired after his body gave out. Every team goes through a transition. The Celtics did it, the Spurs are doing it. But to hear Stephen A. tell it, the Lakers were nowhere, and we should all be praying that LeBron showed up.
The Los Angeles Lakers were pretty freaking irrelevant until LeBron James arrived. LeBron James arrived in Los Angeles in 2018 and absolutely positively returned them to relevancy. Listen, I'm not challenging anything that Baxter Holmes wrote, but the fact is that it's entirely plausible that Jeanie Buss may have felt that LeBron James should have been more appreciative. It is the Lakers after all, and that brand means something. It wasn't like he was playing for the Clippers now. It wasn't like he was playing for the Clippers, okay? Lakers is a different brand. We have to understand that. But he still came there, and he delivered. And everybody wants to sit up there and minimize that championship in the bubble. You can't. Lakers had a lot of adversity. Couldn't get right till LeBron James arrived. And it was because his arrival occurred that Anthony Davis's arrival had occurred. It was because of that that the Lakers had a dynamic duo that you could put supplementary parts around and ultimately capture an NBA championship. Yeah, there should have been some gratitude maybe that was shown because the Lakers drafted Bronny James. Sure, you can nitpick about that stuff like that, but LeBron kind of deserved it. His years of service, covering the NBA, no doubt about that. So let's be fair to the brother. Be fair and give credit where credit is due.
It's hilarious, really. Stephen A. is out here acting like LeBron saved them from drowning, yet in his first year there, they missed the playoffs entirely. Similar results to the irrelevant years, right? But no, we can't mention that because it doesn't fit the savior narrative. The only reason things changed was that they gutted every single young asset they had to get Anthony Davis. And sure, they won a championship in the bubble. Great. But since then, total ineptitude. Absolute chaos.
Now does Rich Paul and Klutch Sports, talk about wielding their power, whatever? Well, let's pump the brakes on that, please. They do what any agent in their position or any agency in their position would do. If you have some muscle, you're going to flex it from time to time to ensure that your tenure is as successful as it possibly can be. You're going to make suggestions. They're going to be strong-handed suggestions like, you need to do this because if you don't, we're not going to be happy. I'm quite sure those kind of things have happened, but it's not a crime.
And don't you love how Stephen A. defends Rich Paul and Klutch Sports? They're just flexing their muscle, he says. Yeah, flexing their muscle right into a Russell Westbrook trade that Jeanie Buss reportedly hated and LeBron now refuses to take responsibility for. It's a masterclass in gaslighting. Stephen A. acts like a tough guy, talking about running for president of the United States, but he can't even give an honest critique of a guy who's currently leading a team to the middle of the pack while holding the franchise hostage. The reality is that LeBron is checked out. He's passing time, collecting stats, and waiting for the next business venture. He's reached the point where he's just an incremental change machine. Oh, you have 51,000 career points now? Cool. Does that help you get back on defense? Does that help the Lakers stop getting blown out by 20 points every other night? The pattern is the same everywhere he goes. He arrives, he wins a ring, he guts the roster, the chemistry turns toxic, and then he acts like he's the victim of a bad operation. He did it in Cleveland, twice. He did it in Miami, and now he's doing it in LA. But because it's the Lakers, and because the media is terrified of losing access to the king, they'll keep telling you he saved them. Let's look at the history here. Before LeBron arrived, the Lakers were developing Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and Kyle Kuzma. They had a path forward. Was it a championship path? Maybe not immediately, but it was an organic rebuild. LeBron showed up, forced the AD trade, and essentially traded the Lakers' future for one bubble ring and 5 years of drama. Was it worth it? Stephen A. says yes, because it restored relevance. But since when did relevance mean being the most talked about team for missing the playoffs or losing in the first round? Jeanie Buss reportedly didn't even want to give him that last extension. She did it to avoid the PR nightmare. Think about that. The owner of the most famous team in basketball is making decisions based on PR blowback rather than what's good for the team. That's the LeBron effect. It's a circus, and while the tickets are expensive, the show is getting really old, really fast. Even Colin Cowherd, a man who has built a career on riding the LeBron wave, is jumping off the ship. He's calling for a trade. He's saying the Lakers should move on to Luka Doncic or someone who actually wants to be a Laker for the basketball, not the business. When you lose Colin Cowherd, you've lost the locker room of public opinion. And yet, Stephen A. Smith continues to bow down. It's embarrassing to watch. He talks about how the Lakers regressed and LeBron revived them. Revived them to what? A .500 record? A play-in tournament appearance? If any other superstar in the league had this much power and produced these few results, Stephen A. would be screaming from the mountaintops for them to be traded. But because it's LeBron, he makes excuses for the muscle flexing and the lack of accountability. The most sarcastic part of this whole saga is the narrative of loyalty. LeBron talks about how he's played for the Lakers longer than any team besides Cleveland. Wow, 8 whole years! Someone get this man a statue next to Jerry West. The reality is he's stayed because it's convenient for his movies, his podcast, and his son's career. It's a marriage of convenience, not a love story. As we approach the trade deadline, the rumors are only going to get louder. Will the Lakers actually pull the trigger? Probably not, because they're terrified of him. They're terrified of the PR blowback that Jeanie Buss mentioned. They're trapped in a gold and purple cage of their own making. In the end, this isn't just about basketball. It's about the culture of the NBA. It's about how one player can exert so much influence that even the greatest franchise in sports history starts to look like a desperate subsidiary. It's about media personalities like Stephen A. Smith being too afraid to call a spade a spade. And it's about the fans, who are expected to buy jerseys and tickets for a mirage while the king watches golf and tells us he doesn't care. The story isn't over, but the ending is looking more and more predictable. Another year, another first-round exit, and another summer of LeBron wondering if the roster is good enough for him. Meanwhile, guys like Colin Cowherd are finally pointing to the exit sign, while Stephen A. Smith is still trying to hold the door open. It's a mess, it's a drama, and quite frankly, it's exactly what happens when you let a player believe he's bigger than the game. So here we are, watching the fallout of a mutually beneficial relationship that has left one side with a doubled net worth and the other side with a losing record and a frustrated owner. If that's saving a franchise, then I'd hate to see what destroying one looks like. The throne is looking a little dusty, and the Lakers' front office seems ready to move on. Whether you think LeBron saved the franchise or sabotaged it, one thing is clear: the drama is far from over. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Lakers' chaos, do us a favor, smash that like button and subscribe for more. It really helps the channel.